For more on what's going on at Apple and Dell, I want to bring in Brian White. He's a managing director at Topeka Capital Markets, where he covers the IT, hardware, networking, and tech supply chain industry. He currently has a buy rating on both Dell and Apple, and he joins me now from New York. So, Brian, first of all, let's start with Apple. What conclusions are you drawing from these reports that Apple is pretty drastically cutting its orders from suppliers?
Well, I think John hit the nail on the head. Let's put this in perspective. So what we saw in December, we saw order cuts across the semiconductor and passive component world in December. We highlighted it, other analysts highlighted it, and forecasts came down. I think when you look at the cuts today, we didn't see LCD cuts at that time. And the numbers that are being reported, 65 million units for the March quarter for iPhone 5, is off the charts. In fact, that would be about 2 times what we're forecasting. So if you remember back, one of the big bottlenecks with iPhone 5 was on the display side, which the new in-cell technology. And what I think Apple did is they went in and over-ordered, so they had enough capacity to meet the demand, and they're coming back and cutting.
So then what would your assessment of iPhone 5 demand be? I mean, do you think it has been strong? Is this impacting your numbers for the current quarter at all?
It's absolutely not impacting our numbers. So, I think when you look at the December quarter, iPhone 5 sales were strong. I think you're going to see seasonality in the March quarter. And you're also going to see the impact of ramping up the iPhone 5S/iPhone 6 starting in April, March, in time for the May-June launch. So I think you got a couple factors. You got some seasonality, and you've got a ramp up coming in the June quarter. So you got to put this in perspective. If Apple sold 65 million iPhone 5 in any quarter, it would be off the charts. They're not going to do it.
And Brian, I believe you in particular have some idea when you think the new iPad is coming out, and you think it's soon. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think it will be in March. We were just at the CES show last week. Big theme was smartphone and tablets being very strong. I think the new iPad 5 and the iPad mini will be refreshed in March, despite having both new products come out in October. So you're going to see the product cycles at Apple get shorter and shorter.
Speaking of the product cycles getting shorter, though, how much do you think that's impacting sales right now? Do you think people are waiting for the new iPhone? Are people waiting for the new iPad and the new iPad mini? And is that actually hurting Apple more than it's helping them?
I think what Apple needs to do is start to reach down into lower price point products. Not cheap products, but you need to penetrate some of these emerging markets. And that's why we think the newest iPhone that comes out in May and June will have different size displays, and I think there will be different price points on those products. So I think that's a theme moving forward. iPad mini is a home run in Hong Kong and China. It's sold out in December. I think they need to make more products like that. You have a high end, you might have something higher end than you have today. You'll have the product you have today, and you have something a little lower end, and bifurcate the market. And that will really allow Apple to expand its market share.
And Bloomberg News has reported that Apple is indeed working on a cheaper iPhone. Do not know yet when we will see that, though. Brian, I want to move on to Dell. What's your take on this news that Dell is talking with at least 2 private equity firms about going private?
I think it makes a lot of sense. The valuation on this stock is absolutely insulting. We upgraded Dell over the summer. It had already had about a 20% correction. We upgraded it. It took another leg down. And we were surprised because at the bottom, when this stock was trading at 8 and change, it was trading at about 3 times X cash on a 2013 number. So I think what Michael Dell wants to do is be able to change the focus of Dell without having the microscope of a public stock. And that change is really moving more into the enterprise, more software, more server, more networking, more storage, without the burden of everyone picking on them for the 50% PC exposure. That's about 25% of profits.
Brian, do you see Dell surviving in its current form, or do you see it ultimately getting taken apart?
It certainly can survive in its current form because they're doing a good job in the enterprise side. The balance sheet is strong, but I think to get the valuation he wants, he needs to exit the PC business.
All right. Brian White, Topeka Capital Markets, lots of stuff going on in your space. Thanks so much